my God, Renee dumped you.
You're dumping me?
Why are we sitting here trying to figure out where we went wrong with our significant others?
Well, you know what I think's sick? This relationship.
There is something out there that can help ease our simultaneous double loss.
Ritual suicide.
No, you idiot, the fucking mall. Brandy is the past. You face forward, or you face the possibility of shock and damage.
Where the hell did that come from? What's going on here?
You know about this game show thing they got going on here? Well, we need you guys to somehow ensure that it doesn't happen.
Is that it? We're gonna do that anyway.
Really? Why?
What else are we gonna do? Sal Barber stole a schematic and found a weakness just like the fucking Death Star. Only problem is LaForge. Who's LaForge? You don't know what LaForge is? Phase 1. First you take a run at LaForge with the sock full of quarters. Clock him on his headpiece and knock his ass out cold.
Is that ingenuity or what?
Jesus Christ, you knocked him out.
Now hit him!
Some have to do fun parties as you get to your morning to social class. Stuck with but it's hard to pass it. Social norm and social rules. With social scam, with social rules.
Holy shit! Aren't you?
Oh, Stanley. Hi.
And welcome to episode number 23 of The Wheel of Movies. I am your host, Austin Pez Howell, alongside my co-host, as always, here on The Wheel of Movies, Mr. Richie Goodacre, as Richie deals with Fern in the background. How's it going? I still were trying to no, I want to play right now. Don't be on the computer. Yeah, what's going on?
I'm going good. I'm looking forward to talking about Mallrats as much as I can. I will talk about Mallrats. Luckily, I've seen it a lot of times, as I was just explaining. I was trying to get my rewatch in, but yeah, being an interesting morning, I want to play. I'm like, I gotta watch this. But yes, I've watched Mallrats heaps of times, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, so no, I'm excited to talk about it because yeah, it's a fun time. It's a fun time.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun to go back and what. And joining us as our third wheel tonight is my usual cohort over on the Movie Hero Network. Obviously, for most things, Movie Hero Network. Jordan Anderson. What's going on, Jordan?
It's going good, and I like the term the third wheel. That's kind of fits the show. Yeah, and I actually did rewatch Mallrats. And for anyone who might be interested, out of all the Kevin Smith movies, Mallrats is my favorite of every Kevin Smith movie. So that's why I really kind of campaigned to be on this episode. And and when I did my rewatch, I actually did a rewatch / first time watch because I'd never seen the extended cut, but I've seen the theatrical cut about a dozen times, but I haven't seen the extended. And the extended one, like you were telling us behind the scenes, Austin, that Kevin Smith kind of prefers the theatrical cut. But for me, the extended cut works way better. I actually really like the extended cut, and maybe kind of prefer it now. I don't know. There's some things we can get into. I'm a fan of the extended cut.
I think that opening sequence is way too long and completely
unnecessary.
I think that
unnecessary. It explains a lot of stuff that you're just kind of wondering about.
I think there's stuff that doesn't need explaining. We'll get into it, but it's to me, I think the pacing is off with that extended cut. We'll get into it because I've always been an advocate that comedy should be an hour and a half, and that cut is 2 hours, way too long. For comedy. But let's get into it. So we're talking about Mallrats, obviously, written and directed by Kevin Smith. The reason why we're doing Mallrats tonight, if you didn't know, is for the late great Shannen Doherty, who is top billed in this movie, despite the fact that I forgot, how much she really is not in this movie that much when you watch it.
Yeah, I say that she's top. I guess she was the most famous at the time. I don't know.
She was the most famous because she was in the middle of Beverly Hills 90210. She was on a very, very popular show at the time. So she was the biggest star going into this movie. And so she got top billing. And she is a primary character. I'm not trying to rule that out. She is, part of one of the two kind of primary storylines and whatnot. But yeah, watching this movie all the way through, I was like, she's not in this movie as much as I remember her being in this movie.
No.
You forget, that, it's not uncommon for studios to do that, but you're like, oh, shouldn't it be Jason Lee and Jimmy London? But and it's weird, back in the time when Ben Affleck's in this movie, but Shannen Doherty's the biggest star.
Yeah, no, Ben Affleck's still relatively unknown at this point. He had been in a few things, but yeah, he's still relatively an unknown actor. But yeah, we're doing it in honor of Shannen Doherty because it was a movie of hers that was on kind of the big wheel of movies. As Jordan said, it's his favorite Kevin Smith. I believe it's in year 128. So and that's kind of what we're talking about it tonight. So just a few quick facts, and we'll kind of start breaking down the different characters and the scenes and whatnot. So released on October 20th, 1995. Budget of about $6 million, and unfortunately only made $2.1 million at the box office. Was a complete bomb at the box office.
They still might be getting a sequel though, because Kevin Smith said he's working on it.
He's been talking
about that for 10 years now, so we'll see if that actually happens. He's been talking about things.
It's like one minute it's a TV show, 1 minute it's a movie.
I looked into that. Yeah, it was originally going to be a movie. Then he was shopping it around as like a 10-episode TV show, and then nobody picked it up as a TV show, so he went back to a movie. And then he said he had the final script ready to go in like 2020. Then COVID happens, and everything gets shut down. Then he works on Clerks 3 and puts that out instead. And he's about to get started on again, and then Shannen Doherty passes away. So there's a whole thing. It's been through multiple phases. He's been talking about the sequel for like 10 years. I don't know if I ever really believe him when he talks about the sequels until they actually
want another one.
That's like why we got Clerks 3, and like he had been talking about that for forever, and like I didn't believe it till it actually had like production stills, and they were actually shooting it, until I actually believed it was happening. And I'll believe the same thing when Mallrats actually happens, like when he starts actually filming it.
I guess it's the same thing with I think there's it's not Kevin Smith related, but like there's a running joke about the whole for years and years about because there was all these fake posters out there of Beetlejuice 2. I'm like, Beetlejuice 2 is not a thing.
No, Beetlejuice 2, you can go back. There's TMZ stuff from like 2012 and 2013 of Michael Keaton being like, oh yeah, we're about to start shooting it. Like we're going to shoot it like right now. Like, we're very close. And like now, yes, we're actually getting it. I have tickets for an early screening. So yes, it was actually happening.
People
it was the same thing for like 10 years. Yeah.
People on Facebook were falling for fake posters. I'm like, I don't think this movie is happening, man. And then I'm like, oh, it's happening. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kevin Smith is a New Jersey guy, and they have that brand new huge like American Dream Mall out in New Jersey. So maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Maybe.
By the way,
that's part of the
sorry. Go ahead, Richard. I was just going to say wrestling tie-in. GCW are doing a show at American Dream Mall, which is weird. Anyway,
I do have another wrestling tidbit I can throw out real quick. Brody Lee is a big fan of this movie. That's where he got his name from.
Yeah,
Brody Lee as well, Richie. He's Brody and then Jason Lee. He just combined the two.
That's cool.
So if nobody ever knew that, he's a fan of Mallrats. So rest in peace, Brody Lee as well, obviously. But yeah, just a couple of tidbits, mostly about casting. There was a lot of young actors at the time who kind of auditioned for this movie though, because Kevin Smith was coming off of Clerks, which again was not a huge hit at the box office, but the studio liked it. It made money for what it was. There was a lot of critics that kind of got behind it, much like Slackers and Richard Linklater. It became kind of an indie darling at the time. So he did get some more kind of access to Miramax people and whatnot, kind of a wide array of people. So Shannen Doherty was cast, although they had some scheduling things with Beverly Hills 90210, probably why she's not in this movie as much as you probably think she's going to be, because she was bouncing back and forth between the TV show that was still going on and this movie, which they had, one of those things where anytime you film on a mall, you got to film overnight because that's when the mall's closed. So you shut down the mall and you film stuff overnight and you have to kind of put it back together before it opens. Same thing with Dawn of the Dead. Any other movie that's like primarily set in a mall is what you have to do. So Shannen Doherty, it was like a Back to the Future situation with Michael J. Fox, where Michael J. Fox was still on on Family Ties while he's shooting Back to the Future overnight. That's kind of one of those things. So a little bit rougher schedule there.
Yeah.
His sleep schedule would be fucked. I would hate that.
Oh no, Michael J. Fox has said many times that he was sleeping like maybe 2 hours a night. He was sleeping on car rides in between, like the place where he was staying and the set. I mean, the whole thing was kind of a haze, like while he was doing it. So, but yeah, I don't know if it was exactly the same for Shannen, but maybe similar. A few people, obviously. Tried to get the role of TS, the Jeremy London part. The one who came the closest besides Jeremy London was Henry Thomas of ET fame. So, kind of makes sense. So I could probably see that. And then more interestingly for Brody, the two other finalists besides Jeremy London before he got it, Steve Zahn and Adam Sandler, both finalists as well around 1995, which makes sense.
I don't know if I can see Adam. I mean, I understand. I could see it in the sense of like
maybe more Steve Zahn. Yeah,
I can see Steve Zahn.
I don't know. I couldn't see Adam Sandler in this particular role. I don't know. Yeah, but Jeremy London, by the way, looked to me. He looked exactly like a young Brendan Fraser.
A little bit. And guess what? I was today years old when I realized Jeremy London and Jason London are two completely separate people. They're identical twin brothers, and they both. I was today years old when I finally clicked in that. I always got them confused because they're different people, but they look the same.
I was gonna say, I thought they were like I thought that there was an actor out there called Jason London, and I'm like, I've seen Jason London.
Yeah, go look them up. They're identical twin brothers. They look exactly the same. Wow. Yes, and they both have completely separate acting careers. So and they both have never really got beyond television roles and direct-to-DVD movies and streaming and stuff. They never really had giant, roles. Jason London, did some horror movies, did a couple of things here and there, some TV, but much like Jeremy London, never really broke out, big. Might be most famous for this movie. Jason Lee, he gets the role, and this is his first really big acting gig ever, which was, you watch this movie and that dude is a total pro. He's amazing in this movie. He is 100% pro, and it's pretty incredible how great he is in this movie, and how just naturally he's given back. This is really his first big major role ever. He was a professional skateboarder at the time and gave up skateboarding to do this movie and to become an actor. And he is tremendous in this film. He hits everything. He steals the movie. He's great. So I can see how this would be a big breakout for him. Filmed at the Eden Prairie Center in Minnesota. As I said, it was moved there. He wanted to shoot it in Jersey at the mall that was close to his house in Jersey, but not financially feasible. The other one was only running at half capacity in Minnesota, and also got tax breaks there. So mainly there for financial purposes. The movie, it did bomb, but found a cult following on video, as we all know. It kind of garnered a cult following as Kevin Smith's career kind of went along. Roger Ebert, who was actually a big proponent of Clerks, and even went so far as to do a film festival panel with Kevin Smith, and was kind of a proponent of that movie. This movie comes out. He didn't like it as much. Gave it 1.5 stars out of 4. Said it was a step down, and he felt like he just become a studio guy, and he was kind of disappointed in Kevin Smith. and I disagree with that sentiment, but I think it's just him working on a slightly larger budget. But I don't think the heart is missing or anything like that. I don't know.
I've been watching a lot of. I've been watching a bit of worst of on Siskel and Ebert stuff back in the day, and I don't know. I feel like if Siskel and Ebert was on now, I'd be just shaking my head at the TV a lot. I feel like, I don't know. This is some of the stuff they had on Worst Of. I think there was one year where they had Happy Gilmore on Worst Of. I'm like, really?
They used to rail on Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey, a lot of their movies, all the time on Worst Ofs. Yeah, it's kind of astonishing to watch their Worst Of specials and be like, really? No, I think that movie's pretty great. Go ahead.
So I was reading an article here from 2015 that says a sequel is in the works that will be filmed next year at the Exton Square Mall in Exton, Pennsylvania. But
that definitely happened, right?
But it said it's already set and ready to go.
Yeah, we already saw
definitely
Mallrats 2, right?
Yeah,
We're going to talk about that at the end of the show, how Mallrats 2 turned out, right?
with all of the
Yeah.
cast returning. So I'm like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just a quick, just fun little kind of trivia bit. Jason London, his girlfriend at the time of this movie, Jason London is in Dazed and Confused, right?
Yeah.
Jeremy London's twin brother. His girlfriend in that movie is played by Joey Lauren Adams, who plays Jeremy London's ex-girlfriend in this movie. And Dazed and Confused also has Ben Affleck playing an asshole. So very similar movies.
very similar.
Just kind of weird, weird trivia bits as far as that goes, and produced by the same company. So, again, kind of weird trivia bits. But yeah, let's kind of get into it, and yeah, we'll kind of talk about maybe some of these primary characters and kind of their storylines.
Well, also, I was just going to mention too one other little, like a quick little trivia that the studio also almost replaced Jason Mewes. Then they were going to bring in Seth Green. I guess they had Seth Green on the
that's right.
retainer.
Yeah,
and so for Jason Mewes, they wouldn't pay for his airfare, for his hotel, for any of that. So if you can get out here and you can do it and you can impress us, then we'll make it happen. But they didn't have a lot of faith in him, so they had Seth Green on
once they got the dailies and saw him doing kind of his initial scenes, and that he was nailing it and he was all right. They let him keep going on the movie. But
Well,
it would have been really
no, was it just because of the drug?
just because he was an unknown. He was when he was Clerks was all Kevin Smith's buddies. It was all his friends. I mean, Jason Mewes was literally his like little buddy he used to hang out with at the youth center or whatever. He wasn't an actor, and the stuff he filmed, he was very shy when he filmed it, and they just didn't know, like, even though he had already played that character, obviously in the one before, they were just like, hey, you want to get like a real actor like to play this character? Like your buddy. Do you think he can actually do it, or is he gonna crack? And like, no, and he did just fine. So they sent him to
nobody else can do the snoochy boochies the way that Jason Mewes does. I think he's the pro at that, and he's good.
Seth Green is more of like that sarcastic, laid back character rather than like the outspoken, no filter, just like perv, the kind of that Jason Mewes is. It would be a different vibe.
Vulgar, all that.
I feel like that'd be like a Last Action Hero type thing where you're like, hey, this is a weird alternate universe. Yeah, I don't know. But I couldn't see him actually. I don't know. It would be a different character to me. But,
it's a different character. But let's talk about the main characters. Let's talk about Jeremy London and Jason Lee. Playing Brody and T.S. The movie's kind of like just basically a buddy movie for the most part. With these guys kind of dealing with each of them getting dumped by the girlfriend kind of the same day, and then sort of dealing with the problems by going to the mall. And they both find it out in these, I will say, opening sequences, but I guess if you watch the extended sequence, it has that governor's ball like weird sequence where like T.S. actually shoots the governor. Like I always thought that it's just an odd sequence. It just feels out of place with the movie to me. So
I think I think it just like explains why Michael Rooker's character hates him so much. He's about to get this grant from these guys to like do public access TV, and then because of like the one guy on the roof that shoots him, and then his daughter up there, and they're all connected. They're like, forget you, like you're not getting any of this money, like whatever. And he's really pissed off because like he kind of like says, like shows that he's kind of down on his luck, and you don't really get. Well, for me, I didn't really get that kind of feeling, like he was a guy kind of down on his luck. But I guess he, in that cut that they show that like how much the money really means to him, and like he's going to be kind of screwed without it. And then they have some things too. There's a scene where he's doing something weird in his bedroom. It's Michael Rooker, and you see his butt or something. He's doing some kind of like karate while he's watching TV. So in the the extended cut though, they have Jason Lee's character. He wants to be on TV, so he brings the whole news crew over. I got some dirt on this guy. Let me show you what this guy's up to. And they go and they're like spying on him through his bedroom, and then you see that scene, and it ends up getting broadcast all over the news or whatever. So it's kind of
to me that's all that's unnecessary. All that stuff's unnecessary. I can buy into the fact that Michael Rooker is just an asshole and doesn't like the guy like any other guy in a rom-com or something. The dad that doesn't like the guy the chick is dating, the daughter's dating.
I live a weird story. I find
that just being a premise. Like I don't need it to be spelled out left and right. Like that's a bunch of movies.
You could say that he has a grudge against him without without like showing it played out. People like like you could be like, oh, obviously, yeah, like you don't have to have the whole backstory as to why he doesn't like it. And it's like, yeah, you can just be, you can have that be a mystery as to why he doesn't like him.
Because they have it back and forth, him and Claire Filoni of just like, my dad doesn't like you. He doesn't hate you. Well, he's never liked me. Like, and I just like, I just get that there's a tension there. That's all I need to know. Like, they
have like a weird
they don't
story
like
that
each
like
other.
explains it, where they're like talking, and she's like, well, like, my friend so and so or whatever. Remember back when you called her fat? You said she was kind of overweight. Well, she went to the gym and she started running laps and laps and laps around the gym to try to lose all this weight, and then she ended up having a heart attack while she was running, and then she died. So my dad's really pissed at you and he hates you. I'm like,
yeah, that's enough for me.
That's a wacky story. Okay,
it's
wacky enough,
kind of weird.
and it makes him be be irrational and to just put the blame. Yeah, makes him have to be a dick, and that's enough.
Yeah, he's a dick and maybe overreacts to things or doesn't listen to explanations. Like, there's a million people like that. Like, I don't need this detailed explanation why, like, a daughter's dad doesn't like the guy she's dating. Like, it's a perfectly fine setup. I don't need a ton of that. Like, I don't need a 30-minute backstory of that. Like,
that's a classic rom-com thing where it's like, oh yeah, but it's like a meet the parents kind of thing. You're like, I don't like you. Oh God, I have to appease your dad. Yeah.
I mean, we never really understand, like, Robert De Niro, Meet the Parents, already doesn't like Greg. Why? Well, just because it's the guy that's dating his daughter. That's it. That's they're always trepidatious about like the guy that's dating the daughter. Like, I don't need this whole like extended setup and backstory. Like, it can just be like, I don't like the guy you're dating. Like, okay.
Yeah,
that's all you need. Like, I'm fine.
For me, it just kind of adds a little more context to the Michael Rooker character. That's like the main thing of it all. So
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, we get this initial thing. Something I noticed, I don't know, maybe I was just looking away from the screen every time it happened. I appreciated Brody more. He has a giant Tremors poster on his wall.
Oh yeah,
I saw that for you.
I was
same here. I did the same thing.
I must have been looking away from the screen every time I did that, or just like like getting my drinks or whatever. But like they pan over to Shannen Doherty, she goes to the corner of the room. And there's a Tremors poster. I'm like, fucking hey, Brody, you're a Tremors fan. Goddamn. I was like, man,
there's a scene in the bedroom where he's like playing the like video game, the hockey game, and then it like pans over and it's on the wall.
Yeah, I was like, awesome. So I mean, I knew he was a comic book thing, all that kind of stuff, sci-fi, whatever. I was like, man, Tremors, man. Good on you, Brody. And maybe that means Kevin Smith's a big Tremors fan too, because obviously he's the director of the movie, doing like, hand in the set design or whatever. But good on you. So no, it's good stuff. Yeah, Brody's, he's a comic book nerd. He loves video games. And yeah, he's with Shannen Doherty, but doesn't, probably pay her enough attention as he should to try to keep her, taking her for granted a little bit. TS is having this falling out, and Claire Filoni, who, by the way, with the glasses on in that scene, super cute, by the way, like ridiculously cute. She's been kind of a television actor for the most part. But yeah, they both kind of get done.
I want to be on that dating game show.
Truth or Date.
Date, whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, I had that video game that he was playing.
Was it which hockey game was it?
I think it's like NHL. I think it's NHL, like 94, 93, something like that.
Like Face Off 95 or Face Off 94, something like that.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
I had a Face Off 98 for the original PlayStation when they finally upgraded to the newer systems. And I have, by the way, if you want a great one-off or two-off, I should say, hockey game, NHL Hits 2002, 2003.
Oh,
awesome
yeah.
If you never, it's a little harder to find. I still have a copy.
You're encouraged to fight and all that. It's like the NFL Blitz for hockey.
No, it's Blitz for hockey, and it's great, and it's awesome, and it's super fun. You do Blitz and NBA Jam mixed into hockey. You get like turbo. You're on fire. You can knock people through the walls. You turn around, do side-scrolling fights. It's awesome. The game.
There was a basketball game similar to that, like on Nintendo, but I can't remember what it's called. But I remember playing that on Nintendo where you just punch people in the core.
Was it the NBA Street game or was it something else?
I don't know. I'll look it up and figure it out before the end of this.
Yeah, NHL Hits. Look into it. I don't know how many systems it came out for. I have it on PS2, but anyway. So yeah, they both kind of break up with their girlfriends, and we head to the mall. And Jordan, I know you said you love this movie because you were kind of a mall rat for a while.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, is that kind of why you really click with this movie? Because when they had their problems, they go to the mall.
Yeah. Well, so like me and my friends, we'd always go to to the mall. Whether it was like an indoor one, we go to some outdoor ones. We go to a bunch of different malls. We'd always be looking for girls. I can't even count like the number of girls that I met from just walking around the mall, and we just spend the day together. Sometimes, usually didn't turn into much of a relationship. Once or twice maybe, but like it's just kind of, we're just there to like meet cute girls. We don't care about anything else that's going on at the mall. We just want to go meet girls and like maybe get something to eat, but that's about it. And we just kind of would like literally go all day long and just like chill out at the mall. And then I dated this girl who was like obsessed with going to the mall. So I kind of like got tired of it because she wanted to go like literally like once every week or two, and I'm just like that is too much because she didn't have a purpose for going other than just browsing around. And I can't tell you how many times I've been stuck in a mall where she's looking at clothes and I'm just twiddling my thumbs. Okay, can we go? But I'm like trying to be polite and nice to her, you know. But but yeah, so and then like malls are kind of a thing of the past. I like kind of looking back at like all the different like stores. They used to have some really cool places in the mall. They used to have like the sharper images, and they used to have the different like I don't know, more stores like KB Toys. They used to have a lot of those stores you go and you can actually like have fun stuff for like guys to go do, and now it's all like clothes and like
no, I feel like I kind of grew up in I'm because my generation, I'm 38 for anybody who doesn't know, I was born in 86. I was kind of the last generation, and we were of like both the internet, the time before the internet, and also kind of maybe the dying days in the malls and like indoor stuff like that. Because I used to go there to FYE or Electronics Boutique before it was GameStop, Hot Topic, go look at the shirts. I mean, all that kind
even
of
like
stuff.
Suncoast Video, we had a Suncoast in our mall too.
I say, Richie, what's it? What you got any Australian malls nearby that used to?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like actually in Australia there's still Electronics Boutique, EB Games.
Oh yeah,
nice.
That's a thing of the past over here. They went out of business a long time ago.
It's called
that became a GameStop. All the EB games, I think.
But I mean, we still have like big, like there's still big like malls and shopping centers over here. Like there's like but it's not like a big thing to like. I remember like with my friends, I'd go like every Thursday night is like what we call late night, where like the shops close later on, so I'd meet up there. But like almost like there's one at Chermside, which is like almost too big because it's like fucking like. Just like what do you want to go? The shop you want to go to is all the way there, this other end. It takes ages to get there. Like you don't need to be that big. I don't want to get lost in a shopping center, even though I come here all the time. So I mean it's cool, but I don't think it's like this. Obviously the age of online and just the I don't think it's like the cool thing to go just to. People. I think people do go to the mall now if they actually need something, not just hang out and just window shop necessarily.
No, it's not a place. The only people that go and hang out per se is the power walking grandmothers. That go to the mall now, and they go in there. When they open to power walk up and down the mall. Get their steps in.
Well, nowadays though, like some of the malls have become kind of fun. Actually, at least where I live, they like all the big chain stores are like half of them are gone. So they put all these mom and pop stores in there. So you find like a used bookstore, like a used video game store or a movie store, or you find like a little thrift store, all these kind of weird, kind of like eclectic, kind of quirky little stores that are actually kind of fun to just go and like check them out. But it's not the same as like the big box stores or any of that anymore. So.
We have like some on that, and I'm thinking of my center in the city. It's like called DVD King, where like it's sort of infamous for like you could find stuff that are very kind of obscure and the DVD things that you wouldn't be able to find in other places. So I mean, so the around it's just harder to it's just not as popular. It's more kind of a novelty.
You mean like out of print versions of Mallrats? That I still have. Yeah, or like my Dogma that is like out of print that goes for a lot of money. That I still have over there. That I'm glad I bought them when I did. But let's get a little more into it. They go to kind of hang out, blow some steam. Brody's got some new cookies he wants to try out at the cookie stand. They have a nice little debate on whether or not the cookie stand is part of the food court.
I'm on Brody's side here. It's not part of the food
I'm on
court.
Brody's side here. That is not part of the food court. It's a separate food little stand stand. Yeah, especially if it's on a separate floor. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
There's
if it one's
area,
downstairs, one's upstairs, that's just a snacks. That's a snacks that
yeah,
stand.
you don't include the Dippin' Dots, cart that's upstairs, on the other
Yeah,
end
like
of the
the
mall as part of the
pretzel
food court.
spot or like whatever.
Yeah, the pretzels or like some smoothie place or something, like you don't include that as
Yeah.
part of the food court. Like you go to the food court and there's the Chick-fil-A and the Sbarro and the Subway, whatever. Like the all that stuff's all together. Yeah, I'm with Brody. I'm with Brody on this. Yeah, 100%. So they go, but of course they end up kind of their problems sort of continue there as Shannen Doherty is hanging out with Ben Affleck from the male shop, fashionable male.
Fashionable male.
Fashionable male. Yeah, he's the manager there. He wants to beat the shit out
Even
of
though
Brody.
the suit he's wearing's way too big for him, so it kind of looks weird. But it's like probably like just something from the time that they wore it like
Maybe
that.
it's a fashion style of 1994. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, some goofy suit there, but he's kind of got it out for Brody. We find out that Claire Fulani's kind of going to be, on the actual dating show tonight. So he's kind of pissed about that and wants to stop it. We'll get into that kind of with Jay and Silent Bob. We run into, Trish the Dish and her research and she's kind of doing her thing. Doing her book, which again seems highly illegal, and that a book company would encourage and give a minor money to
a 15-year-old
to have sexual relations with men much older than her. That seems very like a shady practice of 1995. I think that would be quite a scandal nowadays, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Pendant Publishing. That's the same company that put out Kramer's coffee table book, Jordan. Maybe they're just into weird stuff. I don't know. We kind of get all these people running around. We of course run into Jay and Silent Bob, who always seem to be hanging out wherever the characters need them to be hanging out, depending on the movie. Because
before that, was it a time when they run into Scott Mosier and was that later on? Was it Scott Mosier and some other dude that tell him Steve Dave part?
Oh no, those are the actual comic book men guy. Yeah, Walt Flanagan and
Walt Flanagan.
And the other guy. Those are actually the guys that were on that comic book men show, like that Kevin Smith started. Like,
and then it's
like Walt Flanagan and all those.
And then there's the infamous Tell 'em Steve Dave, which has become a well-known podcast now.
Scott Mosier is the guy who plays Michael Rooker's little assistant guy running around with.
That is
okay.
Yeah, that's Scott Mosier, the editor and producer. Yeah, Scott Mosier. He's the one running around. Yeah, with the vomit bag for Michael Rooker later. A ton of cameos like that.
Like, don't forget about the Ethan Suplee. He's trying to see the magic eye and he can't see it. But then all these random, like a little kid, they're going like, "Oh, it's a sailboat." All right, and he's like pissed off.
That's not it's sailboat. It's not that. It's like it is that's what is it? Like
it's a schooner. He's like, it's a schooner.
Yeah, that's the sailboat. Shut up! And then
then eventually you have Stan Lee come up and be like, "Oh yeah, it's a sailboat," and he walks off.
It's like you get Chris Farley there for a second. I'm like, he could.
The Easter Bunny isn't real. Your parents told us real. He's not real. No, he has his freak out. He's fun. It's a good little side gag.
I'm not really able to see magic eyes either.
I can't either.
If you look really close to me, I have one little eye one eye that's slightly offset than the other. So there's
I probably wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah.
But there's a famous Brian Regan joke where he like goes to the doctor's office and he's like, "Hey, did you know that when your eye's slightly offset than the other?" And he's like, "Oh, I just wanted to see if you wanted to feel self-conscious for the rest of your life. Thanks."
To be fair to Ethan Suplee, I can't see those either. I've tried and I can't do it. Well, and speaking of Seinfeld, remember there was Mr. Pitt stared at one of those for way too long in his office and tried to and couldn't see one and couldn't quite see the picture. So another little Seinfeld connection. Brody and kind of commissions Jay and Silent Bob to maybe try to take down this game show so that
he goes, "We're going to anyway." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, what else are we going to do?"
What's going to do today? Watch the game show. Yeah, why not? Yeah, so we get.
That's the best thing about them. Yeah, like they're already kind of like involved in the plot, like to begin with, in like every movie that they're in, kind of. Even if it's not their movie, it's kind of.
Yeah, no,
like
it's
fun.
Because they're always hanging around wherever the characters need them to hang around. Yeah, because it's either the Quick Stop or here or at like diners or and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and Clerks 2. It's like. it's just wherever they need them to be, essentially, at any given time.
Yeah.
The video store or whatever it is. But yeah, so we kind of cut back and forth between them a couple of times, doing these little plots with LaFurs, who is Sven Ole Thorsen, who is in a bunch of Schwarzenegger movies. And yeah, he's one of Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding buddies. Richie, you might have seen him recently in The Running Man. He's the other burly security guard in The Running Man, running around with Richard Dawson, his personal security guard. Remember that movie? Yeah, it's the same guy. Yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff. But yeah, he's in Gladiator. He plays like the big gladiator that they fight when the tigers are in the things too. That's also him. So yeah, he's been in a bunch of movies. He doesn't really have any lines in this movie. I think he's just kind of there to be intimidating. Even with that goofy hat he's got on, that goofy little brim, straw hat. Yeah, we kind of get a couple of their plots. We get the plot where they try to hit him with the sock full of quarters, and that doesn't work. And yeah, kind of a running gag between and then Silent Bob's always running into the dressing rooms through the wall and popping in on Joey Lauren Adams when she's getting undressed or dressed, one or the other.
Like everyone, like when they think back, they're like Shannen Doherty was the one that was topless. No, it was actually Joey Lauren Adams.
Joey Lauren Adams, who was topless. Yeah, who at the time was Kevin Smith's girlfriend. They dated for a little while. So
lucky man. She's really hot in this movie.
Yeah, no, sure is, and she's very kind of like a.
He was on to being like Big Daddy and other movies like that. Yeah,
I never probably up to this movie, and I was never really attracted to her voice, but I liked her voice. I just wanted to talk to me on the phone. You know what I mean?
But yeah, so we get kind of that running gag. There's the one after that. There's a lot of Batman references in this one. He kind of dons his little bat suit and his bat helmet, awesome. And then flies, across on the rope and runs into it again. Later they pull out the utility belt and the grappling hook and do a little nod to Batman '89. That's fun. They embrace each other and kind of go up on the grappling hook. That's some good stuff.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, those are kind of their plots. They're just kind of running around, sort of trying to sabotage the game show and help, Brody and TS wherever they can.
But one of the funny things too, I think that Silent Bob isn't the only silent character in it, because you have that security guard LaForce that doesn't really say anything, but he's like supposed to be the head of security that's like running around. So
yeah, I mentioned that while you were looking up stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
Thorson doesn't say anything in this movie. Yeah,
don't mind me if I don't hear something. I'm probably looking it up.
That's right. No, that's all good. So yeah, I mean, we get again, we gotta get these guys. They're sort of running around. They're trying to get dirty. It is that funny thing where this happens in my work a lot. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this, but they get to the mall and somehow everybody already knows about their breakup. Like everybody they talk to already is like, oh yeah, I already heard. Yeah, I already heard about this. Already heard about that. It's like we have a running gag at work like that with my job, that if somebody gets fired, like the other people know about that person being fired before they know about it. Like word gets around fast. People are on day offs. I don't know if you guys could relate to that at all or have any stories.
Sometimes like my latest breakup, there's people who knew about it without me even saying anything. Before it made it public, said something publicly. I'm like, how did you know? I know it anyway. Oh, someone such and such told me. So because word travels. Also, I mean, word travels easier on social media, but but then it is weird. I think sometimes word gets, sometimes you just gotta. Sometimes people just like to gossip, and then word gets around to that person, and gets around. So you're like, oh, okay.
Well, and I guess if everybody's hanging out at the mall that day and they're all running into each other, they're all kind of telling the story. That's the story of the morning, is both the breakups. The word is getting around, because you got to remember, this is also before cell phones. It's not like they're all texting each other, or posting about it on Facebook, in the morning. I mean, everybody's just kind of getting the word around.
What happened to me or to like people that I worked with was one of my first jobs when I worked at a Target. Like the word would just spread around the store, and like everyone knows about everyone's personal life, and you're like, how'd you find out about that? And, I only told one person, but I mean, word gets around.
Good news travels fast, around your retail job.
I
know all about that. But yeah, so I mean, we kind of get these guys running around. They're trying to sabotage the game show. They're kind of both kind of confronting their girlfriends and whatnot throughout the thing. Brody keeps running into Shannen Doherty, trying to get her hooked back up with him. I mean, they have the elevator scene where he tries to run. Traffic gets he finds out that Ben Affleck from the mail store is kind of going out with Shannen Doherty a little bit, or at least they've started dating. I don't know. It's implied that they've kind of already had, or at least been talking, right? I mean, I don't know if it's outright said, but it's kind of implied that they've kind of been at least maybe chit chatting on the side or something.
We find out later that Ben Affleck likes to prey on like the people that are in a vulnerable state, the girls that are just like on the rebound kind of girls, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, they have kind of the scene where they it seems like they're going to make up for a second. You know, she challenges his libido, as he puts it, and so they bang very, very quickly in the elevator.
She challenged my libido, so I had to prove it to her.
And he starts dancing, he starts dancing. And then, and then he's like,
and then she still breaks up with him, and he's like, "Oh, son of a bitch!"
People are like waiting to use the back like service elevator. Because like when they come out, there's about like 10 or 15 people standing around out there waiting, like a crowd's there. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I know why these people like look perfectly capable. They need to just take the stairs. Like we're just waiting for the elevator.
Yeah,
you know, I don't see anybody in wheelchairs waiting for the elevator there.
Yeah,
so especially Ben Affleck, you look like a fit guy. You know, take the stairs. But yeah, no, he gets some shots in on Brody. Yeah, kind of feels like Jordan said that he preys on these girls who are kind of in between relationships and whatnot. And then we kind of get the bit where Brody then tells Jay and Bob that the Easter Bunny beat him up. So they have the scene where
they go up. And when he's like
across the Easter Bunny
of kids, when he's in the line of kids, he just punches the Easter Bunny.
The kids are all like in shock. Yeah,
and then come to his defense. Yeah.
That's good stuff. But yeah, I mean, they get into some trouble with Michael Rooker, obviously, when he kind of spots them running around the mall and causing some mischief and whatnot. So we get the infamous stink palm scene, which is pretty famous from this movie, where
chocolate covered pretzels.
Chocolate covered pretzel. Yeah, they make a reference to it in Jay and Bob Strike Back when he goes, would you like a chocolate covered pretzel? Apparently, and it's not the first time since then. Michael Rooker has told the story that multiple people will come up to him at Comic-Cons and offer him chocolate pretzels. So that's become like a running gag. That almost every Comic-Con he says somebody will come up and hand him a bag of chocolate pretzels and ask him if he'd like one. So that's a running gag. And he gets. They say
he gets it on his palm.
He gets diphtheria from it, which is like it's a pretty serious illness. People die from diphtheria. You die from that. It's like that or dysentery and like the Oregon Trail.
He's like puking in a bag over and over again, but the bag's like
this,
like
big.
that big, but he's puking over and over, and it's like really.
It would be on the floor. That
your nose would be dipping
really
into it every time. Yeah,
yeah.
He needs a much bigger bag than that. But that's a fun gag because he starts sweating. It's like he's got some kind of flu or stomach bug or something. But yeah, I mean we get a little bit of that. They eventually get kind of ambushed and get taken out of the mall, but they're able to escape with the help, of course, of Jay and Bob, who are always there at the rescue. Those are some good friends, that Jay and Silent Bob. Always kind of bailing him out of jam. Say what you will, and they go to what they call the dirt mall.
They try to use the force on.
Yes. Oh no. Yeah, that's a running gag that my girl appreciated when we were watching it. Yeah, he was constantly trying to use the force, especially
he knows they went and watched Empire of the Jedi. That's what
I think he said he just watched Empire and Jedi. They watched back.
Oh, okay. I thought he said Empire of the Jedi.
No, I had the subtitles, and he just said they watched Empire and Jedi last night, so now he wants to do the Force. And but I mean, there's a callback, when he's upside down, kind of to the the ice cave in Empire, where he's hanging upside down and kind of focuses for a second and then reaches his arm out. So that's a fun.
He can do MacGyver shit now. Okay.
He can do MacGyver shit. No, and Kevin, Silent Bob's a smart guy. He does a lot of stuff in those movies. He knows how to ring. He gets a grappling hook. Good on him. I do like the bit where before he gets to the grappling hook, he pulls out like a finger dildo and he pulls out a blow-up doll, all kinds of shit out of his
all these things
out of his trench coat. Trench coat. He's just like keeps throwing him aside. Don't need that. I like the idea of the endless trench coat. That's a classic gag. Stuff in that. They go to the. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that Silent Bob has his like one infamous line where he's like adventure. excitement. A Jedi craves not these things. It was just to speak one time and everything.
At least once. Yeah, he has a monologue at the end of Clerks. He has a monologue at the end of Chasing Amy. Is the Chasing Amy story, and then in Dogma, he has just a few
James
lines.
Barber is like, the sign, you fuck.
The sign on the back of the car said "Critters of Hollywood." You dumb fuck. He says thanks at the end of Dogma. That's what he says. I remember he says one word because she says Chris Rock goes, if you clean up your language, I just might put in a good word for you too. And he goes, thanks. And he slaps me, shut up. So he always has at least a word or a sentence or some kind of monologue. Those are his lines. They go to the Dirt Mall, which is what they call the flea market, I guess, kind of the open air flea market.
Good about that with the lady with the extra nipple.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we go see. I was trying to look up. I was trying to look up see who that was. If she was like somebody famous or I don't know. Does anybody know off the top of their head? I was going to look it up real quick and see if the lady who plays
Priscilla Barnes. I don't know who that is, but
Priscilla Barnes sounds familiar. Let me look that up. Miss Ivana. Yeah, it's Miss Ivana. Priscilla Barnes, who was I guess she. Oh, that's right. She was one of the girls on Three's Company. I think she was the replacement.
You're
replacement
right.
girl on Three's Company. Yeah. So she was kind of well known, mostly just a TV actress. But there you go. I was like, yeah, she's got because they make a reference to Octopussy. I was like, was she like a Bond girl or something at some point, like back in the day? I just
like
wasn't sure.
In here, yeah.
Yeah, she's got the third nipple. It turns out to just be one of those like fake edible nipples because she pops it in her mouth right afterwards. But she
pops out and eats it. Yeah, that's kind of like disturbing.
my girl was absolutely losing her mind, like laughing at that whole thing where she was like squeezing it and just like rubbing it and like pressing it together while she's like doing her reading. Yeah, she was absolutely losing it. But while Jeremy London's taking it completely seriously and
taking it completely serious. Yeah,
she's like, oh, that's you're right. Confrontation. Yeah, no, you're. Oh my God, you're spot on. That's great. But yeah, they get some inspiration to kind of head back to the mall to confront them on the game show, so they're able to kind of sneak back in and get in there. And yeah, they take out two of the guys so they can kind of get on the game show. Jay, of course, uses his J powers of marijuana and gets the other guy super stoned and gives them the munchies. Tells them we got a mad case of the munchies.
It's weird because whenever anyone walks back, it's like, what happened to those guys? Oh, they got a little too stoned or whatever, and they're like, all right, and they just kind of like walk off, like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, they're just laying on the floor eating M&Ms, eating chips, just splayed out. But yeah, they're able to do that because Michael Rooker's a little sick from the stink palm, and they're able to get on there. This is where we get our our Brian R. Halloran kind of little cameo appearance. Gil Hicks, who by the way is Dante. Dante Hicks is the name of the Clerks character, so you wonder if it's brother or something. I believe it kind of is supposed to be that it's like a Gil Hicks is at least somewhat related to Dante, obviously played by the same actor. It's a complete and utter like dating game knockoff, like 100% dating game knockoff, which is with the three guys and the asking the questions and whatnot. It gets pretty fun. Jason Lee, with some of his answers, they have the running gag about the, such Ben Affleck always said, he's going to do them in dirty places or uncomfortable places on the back of a Volvo.
Like, back of a Volkswagen.
It's like what?
You look the kind of guy who begs for sex. It is like
what a cut of the load of horse shit. Every time he gives him one of those like stupid dating games. And by the way, I used to hate those answers on dating games. So guys would like, what kind of if you were a vinyl record, what type of music would be on your record? Oh, I'd be the because I did like shut up.
What does that have to do with anything?
If I was on the show, I'd be like, what a stupid question. Why don't you just ask me like what I like to do, and my personality, and like my hobbies,
to do for fun, and do you make a lot of money? That's what the girls care.
I do. I do have a soft spot for those trashy shows, though. There are those ones that still are, were still around, and maybe as recent as 10 sort of years ago, there was one I think Jerry Springer had one called Baggage. Have you ever checked that out?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Baggage.
It's crazy. That's dumb. But yeah,
Then
that's
MTV had a bunch of them. They had like Next, and they had Room Raiders.
Well, I was going to say that my favorite era might have been that early 2000s MTV era with those ridiculously nonsensical like dating shows. Yeah,
Room Raiders,
Room Raiders, and Next, and wasn't there one called like Date My Mom or something?
Yeah, Mom. Yeah. That was
like those shows were terrible, but they were kind of oddly watchable. Like they were trashy and stupid, but they were kind
of
one
of the funniest ones. Was that one Next, because they had like the big Next bus, and then literally someone would like walk off the bus, and then
Next,
the girl just like looks at him and was like Next, just like immediately. And it's like okay,
yeah, and it was also obviously fake, but it's so fun.
The show was obviously terribly scripted. All those shows were horribly scripted.
Then you get the random one where it's a gay couple, and like back then, I remember being like, "Whoa, like this is kind of like shocking."
Oh
for,
my
like,
god,
like,
gay people
like
exist.
TV.
Oh my
god,
god,
I'm just like, whoa.
Do you know who was on Room Raiders once?
What's that?
Zac Efron. Look it up.
Oh, really? Okay.
I know that like Christian Harloff was on one of those shows too. He ended up on like an episode of like something like that.
No, Room Raiders was horribly scripted because the girl would just walk around and just come up with like pithy one-liners like throughout the whole thing. And I'm like, there's no way you came up with that on top of your head. Like, stop. Like she's getting fed the lines like through an earpiece, obviously, behind her hair. No, just horrible. Like just really stupid shows. But yeah, I mean, those old 70s dating games were silly. I remember Andy Kaufman was on one as the Lotka character. That was pretty great. Pee Wee Herman was on it one time as Pee Wee. That was great. Arnold Schwarzenegger was on it as himself, like when he had long hair. He went on an old. There was also an infamous one where there was a serial killer on there.
Yeah. There's a famous one where there's a big serial killer who, luckily she rejected the date, off camera because he found creepy. Thank God, because she would have been a big deal.
No, look up a dating game serial killer. There was like a famous serial killer who ended up, uncovering footage. He was on the dating game once, and it was like not like before it. It was like in the middle of his serial killing. Like it was.
Wow.
Really? Found out later. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll look at.
Then they had that
later.
That you remember Blind Date too, where they'd have like all the fun facts and like the little thought bubbles that would pop up about like with their date or whatever. There's that one too.
They're all stupid. But yeah, so they kind of do this truth or date game. She eventually finds out that it's TS, kind of obviously from his voice behind there, and they kind of have this back and forth, kind of hashing out all their issues with Brody kind of chiming in and whatnot. And they kind of get back together. And look, Kevin Smith, and one little detail I just have to point out as a theme park connoisseur, and I know Jordan, you are as well. So I have to pull the technically on Kevin Smith, because he says he's going to go down to Universal and do in Florida and do the Hollywood movie tour and propose when Jaws pops out. Yeah. The movie tour, Kevin Smith, is in Universal Studios, California, not Florida. That is not in Florida. That's not a thing in Florida. There at the time there was a Jaws ride in Florida in 1995, but it was not part of a tour. The movie tour, which still exists, is in the California one. Sorry, Kevin Smith, but as the theme park guy, I had to pull the technically, it's not down there in Florida.
Yeah.
So they can get
early on, he was like, "I was going to propose to her," and like right when the jaw, the shark comes out and the Jaws ride, he's like, "Oh, that's so romantic." It's like, "Oh man, I should be marrying you," or something.
She's not romantic, Brody's able to kind of profess his love for Shannen Doherty, and of course, product of the time. She's like, "What can I say? I love the retard." It's just just throwing around that word, of course, like that, like they were to do in the 90s. Which I don't care. Like it doesn't offend me. I don't give a shit. But so
people use it sparingly now.
Very sparingly. But back then it was just like, because he's an idiot. Like you call him an idiot. And Ben Affleck goes to jail because they end up playing a little bit of the tape that Trish the Dish plays of him.
Like she's only 15 years old.
That girl's only 15 in that video. That video is weird too, because Affleck, while he's having sex with her, keeps like being like, "Call me this, call me that, call me Donnie," or he's calling the new kids on the block. He's like, "Call me Donnie, call me whatever." The other guys on the new kids on the block. I was like, all right, well, so he likes new kids on the block. I mean, I guess they're still touring. If you want to see him, they're probably coming to a city near you. Yeah, we get kind of a wrap up where Ethan Suplee's still looking at the picture, for the most part. He just can't see it. And I think he said he finally sees it, but over the narration, then he looks up at the camera and goes, "Really? I do? Cool."
Yeah.
Well, response to the narration or to the
There's a couple of like fourth wall breaks in the movie, I think, where they kind of break the fourth wall a little bit and like speak to the camera or something, or speak to somebody. So
yeah. I should remind. Yeah, we didn't really talk about much of him, but yeah, this is kind of the OG Stan Lee cameo, is it not?
Yeah, right. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
I mean, really? Like, it's not even really much of a cameo. He has like a full-on scene. Like, it's a pretty lengthy little kind of back and forth with Jason Lee, because at first he just wants to know about
like of any Stan Lee cameo in my
No, it's really good. Yeah, and apparently I did read at first it wasn't even supposed to be the actual Stan Lee. It was going to be a guy who was like Stan Lee, because Kevin Smith didn't think he was going to actually be able to get the real Stan Lee, to be in the movie. And then a couple of connections through Miramax and whatnot, and then Stan Lee was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." So he came on set for like 2 days and filmed all of his stuff. And it's a pretty cool back and forth. Yeah, Jason Lee just wants to know about, the thing, and if his dick is made out of rocks, or if Mr. Fantastic stretch his dick. He only wants to know about like sexual escapades of
like he's weirdly obsessed with superhero genitalia.
Yeah, and he just kind of tells a story about kind of pining for this girl who got away and things like that. So it kind of convinces him to go after his girl, and it's a really good scene. Stanley's really good in there, and and he's actually this is kind of the OG one. I know he makes a cameo in like, doesn't he make a cameo in Blade? I think I think he was doing stuff for Marvel pretty early as far as like cameos. I was pulling up his Wikipedia to see if it had like all of his film appearances, but I think he is in a pretty good amount of them. List of cameo appearances by Stan Lee.
He's not in Howell the Duck. All right. You know something earlier on. Like
he's literally in, the first Iron Man. He's in all the MCU movies, obviously. But yeah, I don't think he's, I know he's in Spider-Man. He's in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, because or at least in 1 and 2, I believe, because he makes little appearances there. But yeah, this is kind of the OG Stan Lee cameo and playing himself, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's pretty awesome they got him. And yeah, I appreciated Brody's talk about the kryptonite condom and and Lois and Wonder Woman, who could carry his baby. That's a fun conversation. And kind of the reason, if you go back and look at Evening with Kevin Smith, he thinks that's almost kind of the reason they let him have a pass at the Superman movie that he was commissioned to write, because they're like, this guy might be a big comic book fan. He might know a lot about Superman. Let's let him maybe try to write a draft of that. But yeah,
it says that technically Stan Lee appeared in like some kind of 1989 Trial of the Incredible Hulk. I don't know if that's part of the TV show or like what it was. I don't know.
Trial of the Incredible Hulk is the one. Is the TV movie? Yeah, they did a couple of TV movies. I've seen them all with the Lou Ferrigno Hulk. That's the one that has Daredevil in it. The one guy playing Daredevil with like literally like the almost like the beanie thing just pulled over his head, running around. And there's like a dream sequence where there's a trial and Hulk like wrecks the courtroom. Yeah, it's a scene you can look up, and yeah, it has Daredevil in it. So those movies are never good. They're not good. One of them has Thor in it. There's a guy who plays Thor, and they have a really lame slow motion fight. Thor and Hulk do in like a lab. It's pretty bad. Yeah, he's literally got like the most cartoony, shitty looking cosplay Thor outfit on. It's not very good. And then he literally walks around just going like, "You Hulk, I shall tame you." Like it's really bad. It's wow. Go and look it up if you like a good laugh. But yeah, we kind of get this wrap up. Everybody, they do some kind of fictional things where we're TS. They get married right next to the Jaws thing. It says that Brody became the Tonight Show host with Shannen Doherty as his band leader. All this like ridiculous stuff and all that, and we kind of wrap it up. But it's
band leader.
Yeah, but it's good stuff. This movie is very watchable. I don't put it as high as kind of some of the other Kevin Smith movies, just because some of his other movies are kind of more personal to me, or just make me laugh a little bit more. But where do you guys kind of rank this one as far as I don't need like an exact ranking, but is it like top? Is it middle? Is it kind of near the bottom, Richie? As far as maybe his pantheon.
I watched it a lot. It's still, it pops up at 128 because probably more than not most of his movies do, but like it's probably mid tier, it's maybe lower because it's like it's good, but like I feel like maybe the other ones like that have like more maybe heart to them and generally more generally like funnier, so because some like while this is like while this it is good, I feel like there's like more like there's sort of I feel like there's more kind of I don't know. There's more like substance. I don't know if it's right for lack of a better word. In like other ones that I like better, like Dogma, where it's like kind of. I feel like there's a lot more going on where it's just I appreciate like the mall culture and then there's homage to that sort of that time period, but I just I think I'll probably get more of a kick out of like Jay and Silent Bob and things like that and Dogma and even like Clerks too, where I think maybe the jokes are a bit more, they come at you a bit more quicker. But I do like this movie. I think it still holds up. So still around like the mid tier, which is still good though.
Yeah, no, and Jordan, you said this one's your favorite, so give me another rundown, kind of like overall, like why it's your favorite and what clicks with you about it. Yeah.
Well, so it's only one of Kevin Smith's movies to make it into my 128. So, and for whatever reason, like just kind of like I said before, hanging out in the mall as a kid, there's a lot of just like nostalgia, a lot of just I appreciate the Stan Lee cameo, the comic book store stuff. I used to go. There's a mall that growing up that actually had a pretty cool comic book store, so I would go and check that out. And like for whatever reason, like it just hits kind of more. And I like that that just kind of shows like it's a lot of the first appearances for a lot of the characters that we're gonna like grow to love in all these Kevin Smith movies, but like you can still get a lot of heart though. You get a lot of humor. Like it's just like I just really connect with the cast, all of that stuff, and so it just works really well for me. And also I appreciate that's like really taking comic books seriously. Cause even like the opening credits, you get some cool comic book artwork and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, with like Weapon X and a few other things.
Yeah, you get all that stuff.
There's actually I looked at the credits and there's quite a few like pretty well-known comic book artists in the credits that did those opening credits. If you look at not off the top of my head, but I know I recognized at least a few of the names just through the kind of the great apparent. If you look it up, a lot of them submitted artwork for that opening credit sequence. It's pretty cool. This was like not in my 128 or anything, but I always like it every time I watch it. I don't have any problem. I think it's entertaining. I like the chemistry between Jeremy Lin and Jason Lee. It's still hard to believe. This is like Jason Lee's first movie. He's incredible in this movie. Like he just nails everything. He steals the movie. His timing is perfect. Jeremy Lin bounces off nicely. I think they have good chemistry. I always appreciate Jay and Silent Bob. That's why Jay and Bob Strike Back is kind of my favorite of all these movies, just because I like those characters and I like them running around, and I just like their buddy chemistry as well. I can go back and appreciate it as a timepiece of malls and mall culture and everything. It's a time I definitely kind of miss, just going to the mall and kind of walking around and hanging out and going to different stores and eating at the food court and just spending like a Saturday there or something like that. I always appreciate that, and I didn't mind the relationship stuff in this either. They're kind of trying to fight for their relationships. I think it's a nice breezy movie. I definitely prefer the theatrical cut. I know if Jordan, you like the long one, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've always just promoted. I think comedy should be like a tight 90 minutes. This one kind of is with the theatrical cut. I just think it kind of flies by, and the pacing is really good. And I just appreciate kind of how quickly it moves. So, I don't know if it's ever going to be like one of my favorites, but it's a really solid movie. If you haven't seen Mallrats, it definitely works. It's
now,
Much of them.
So I was just curious, just some of the little like like the way that it's written too. There's just like some of the most just like hilarious random lines. I think that it's maybe Jay that's like talking about the airplane crash where they all started to jerk off simultaneously or whatever, and then like afterwards they like pause. He doesn't finish the whole story. And like, well, did they come or not? Like, what happened, man? Because or no, it wasn't Jay. It was the guy. It was on stage. The Jason Lee, I think he was saying it on the stage. That's what it was. And so. Like there's just all these little random things. There's a lot of cool little Easter eggs, even in the end credits. So I watched the end credits all the way through because they do the cool thing where they're like walking kind of off into the distance. They have like a random monkey. I don't know why they have a monkey just out of nowhere, but it's like Jane Silent Bob just walking along. And then they have like special thanks too. Like the director would like to thank my God for another opportunity to tell my stupid stories, or like mom and dad for having sex all those years ago, and like one of the like pure gold things. They actually have an entire Reddit thread about people just making up wacky and credit things. Like there's one that's like special thanks, Dad, for not pulling out, for refusing that blowjob. And then you see someone underneath that's like confused, like, so she refused the blowjob? What? Like visible confusion? What? It's just like the best thing. If you ever have a chance to like go check out the Reddit thread, there's some pretty funny stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like three things. One, I appreciated the first joke where he's like, "Yeah, my buddy bought a cat and tried to shove up his ass," and then so, but yeah, then he had to get a doctor to fish it out, and then he bought a second cat, tried to do the same, and he tried to the third time. He's like, "Why you keep trying to shove a cat up your ass?" Well, how else am I gonna get the gerbil out? I like that. So and just to clean up, the basketball game I'm talking about is Arch Rivals for Nintendo.
Arch Rivals.
Oh yeah,
came out in 1989. It's a good game. And the serial killer's name is Rodney Akala. He was also just known as the dating game killer, even though he didn't actually, just because he was EP on that show and it was a famous, but he died in 2021.
I see. So at least he's dead. Okay, that's good. Good riddance. But yeah, I mean that'll kind of do it for Mallrats. We're a little over the hour mark, so we'll kind of wrap it up there. I definitely give it a thumb. It's definitely a solid movie. I think my girl and I are going to do a little Kevin Smith binge because I found out today she hadn't seen any of Kevin Smith's movies. So
my God!
Oh wow!
Oh damn! Well, I was like, we almost started at the beginning because she watched Mallrats with me. So we'll go back and watch Clerks, and then we'll kind of go from there, which is fine because again, she's going to see Jane Silent Bob again. But I feel like you kind of have to know the Clerks characters and all these characters. Kind of, you have to build up to Jane and Bob Strike Back because it has so many callbacks to all those movies. To watch that movie. Going forward and everything. But we might do a binge here in the next couple of weeks. All those movies.
It's always fun when you're dating someone and you find out they haven't seen a bunch of stuff that you really love. Oh, well, now I get to show you this and we can watch all this together. Like my ex-wife, she hadn't seen a lot of TV shows. So like she only watched like classic TV. So we watched like all of Lost together. We watched Friday Night Lights. We watched like Heroes. We watched like a bunch of like stuff that I really love. So I'm like, cool, I get to show you all this stuff. And she ended up loving it all to the fact that like we finished it all and she wanted to watch all three of those over again. I came home from work one day and she had like restarted Friday Night Lights again. I'm like, we just finished that. He's like, but I loved it.
Like a kid, like Bluey or something. Like, let's watch it again. Like, no,
like again.
We just watched that. I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah, right.
Well, kids will get obsessed with a movie as well and just want to watch the same movie over and over.
Yeah,
That's
why like you see the same like Pixar movies on the top 10 on Netflix or something. You're like, that's good.
Some kids movie pops up, Netflix, and it stays, in the top for no reason, just because kids are watching it 8,000 times. That's why I forbid Frozen to be in my house. I do not have Frozen on the DVD shelf. I have kids' movies available if she wants to, but they are only the good ones. I've only allowed the ones that I'm like, okay, yes, you want to watch Toy Story 9 times in a row? I'm okay with that. You go watch Toy Story 9 times.
You can watch it.
You can watch that. You want to watch Shrek 9 times in a row? That's fine. Like I can handle that. You want to watch Aladdin, whatever? Like cool. But you're not watching Frozen 9 times in a row.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna kind of wrap it up there. So we'll just use some very quick plugs, kind of anything just in the immediate future. Jordan, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I won't plug too much here, but we do have tournament fights. We got tier ranker fights going on. So tomorrow, I'm actually trying to see what we got going on. You probably know better than me.
You got the
So I got my
TV tier
schedule.
ranker.
Oh yeah, the TV one. That's right. So I've been watching TV shows all week long. I've been watching Ash versus Evil Dead because I've never seen that, and that's great. That's really good. And like watching that gives me a new appreciation for the Evil Dead movies, because when I first saw them, I didn't love it, especially Evil Dead 2. But now I'll say that I actually really like that movie. Like I've gained a new appreciation for it. So that's cool.
Because it's a comedy. That's what I told you.
Yeah, and that. Yeah, like the first one tries to take itself really serious, but then it veers off into comedy, which is fun. So yeah. But then all next week we're going to be doing Michael Wolfman Wyndham's Top 128, and then if you haven't seen it yet, and you'd like to be a guest on the show, I just posted links and all over social media, which you can probably find down in the description, and in the Movie Hero Network group over on Facebook. You can find the new schedule. And then I've been a bit behind on the Patreon. I haven't posted anything for a little while there, so I did everyone a solid. I posted like 6.5 months of the upcoming schedule. Now I'll just tell everyone the stuff that's really far out might be a little subject to change a little bit, but the stuff in the next 4 months or so that's pretty much going to be what it is. So if you go to patreon.com/moviehero, you can see that. You can see some exclusive trivia. You can see we do giveaways. We do some podcasts. There's some music related podcasts coming up because of copyright. We got to do music over there. So there's a lot of fun stuff. If you just want to support the channel, just go to patreon.com/moviehero and check it out over there. And yeah, that's all I'll plug for today.
Okay. I got something you can do while Richie's plugging stuff. While you're here, pull up the wheel of movies. We'll actually spin it since nobody's died yet.
Sure, yeah.
While you're on the air here. We can decide what we're going to do 2 weeks from now. So while you're here.
Yeah.
So pull up your giant wheel, Richie. But in the meantime, I'll give you a minute.
Yeah, well, you can catch me and Pez in a few minutes here on Lonely Marks, just recapping SummerSlam and all the news. There's a bit of news, and probably a recap. We talk about quite a good episode of Raw now with the Raw, I've got a multiplex match coming, and then I'm recording here soon as well against Joseph Olivas, so that will be dropping at some point. And then what else? I will be part of Battleground, the big thing coming up soon. Other than that, I think I'll be on JPO. I'll be on JPO's birthday like trivia match coming up here soon. I think on Friday night. Next Friday night. I think next Friday, late next Friday night. So so that's being there, and then I'm on Tournament Fights. I'm on a few. I'm on Wolfman's. And we're on a couple of Wolfman shows. So yeah, check me out there.
Sure, trust me. If they start talking too long, I'll just start spamming Joe Hendry.
But yeah, I didn't even realize it was JPO's birthday. Usually, I let some of the regulars do like whatever they want to do for an episode. So maybe I'll give him like a belated birthday if he wants to do something.
Not to make you feel, my birthday is next week as well. Anyway.
Oh, well, you too, Richie. Like if you wanted to, so you can just let me know. I just don't know when everyone's birthday is, but I am gonna. One of the things I forgot to mention is that I'm gonna be on Countdown with JPO this Sunday. We're gonna be doing best movies of 2012. So that should be fun. So. Yeah.
Hey, Richie, for your birthday, you can decide. Jordan will keep spinning the wheel until you find something you want to do. All right, spin the wheel, Jordan.
Yeah, right.
you can pick.
If you just want to pick what the next movie is going to be.
Spin the wheel. It's been a while.
I'm just saying. I'll give him carte blanche. I'll give him the first yay or nay as to whether or not we do it. So.
Sure.
All right. Well, spin it up, Jordan. If you got it ready.
All right. Well, do you have anything you want to plug? Did you?
Nah, just I'm out of town this weekend, and we just got Lonely Marks in a few minutes. That's it.
Yeah, so as far as like the next week or two goes, awesome out of town this week. We're still going to have a show, but the following Friday, I'm going to be out of town with the person we were going to do a championship match with, Michael Wolfman Wyndham. So there'll be no show next Friday, but we'll have something for you Monday and Wednesday. So we'll have that.
All right.
So yeah, but
big blob wheel.
Yeah, the big blob wheel, which the wheel of movies has way more movies on it than the mystery tournament because we only take out one every once in a while. So we're up to like almost 2,000. We got
Jesus Christ.
1,943 movies on there. So
well,
that's
welcome
everyone's
to
favorites.
episode number 1,822 of Wheel of Movie. Well, I should say,
Yeah.
welcome to
Welcome to
1,822. We're talking about the 80th anniversary of Jurassic Park tonight.
We want to get through it. We got to make it a daily show.
Speak up. What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What? I
yeah,
can't
sure.
hear you.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Superhero? What's that? I don't know what that is.
What did it land
But
on?
yeah.
Oh, did
He's
it
spinning right
land
now.
on anything?
I'm not spinning it. So yeah, here we go.
Oh, okay.
No,
He's spinning.
no, he puts it in there. The lady says what it hits.
Yeah.
110. Walk hard. The Dewey Cox
Oh,
story.
I just
there you
watched
go.
that.
Yes.
Walk hard.
Yeah, we're
Yes,
doing it.
yeah,
Do that?
yeah,
Okay.
we'll do that. Yeah, and
Yeah,
you know what's funny?
Walk Hard, the Dewey
I
Cox.
just showed my girl that movie like 2 weeks ago, so I just
Yeah.
watched
Nice.
it. So it's very fresh in my
Nice.
brain. Yeah, I could talk about Walk Hard, and it's in my 128, so that works for me. All right,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that movie's brilliant. We'll talk about it. That movie's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are doing unless somebody passes away next week and we have to pivot, we will do Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. Sounds good. Yeah, because boy, did that movie still almost 20 years later ruin music biopics forever. Holy crap, that movie ruined where I can't watch any of them the same again. So yeah.
Well, so you're gonna do it next week, or you're gonna do it the week after?
No, about 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, we'll just
Okay.
we'll keep it every 2 weeks. We just did
We do it we just did the emergency one because people were passing away.
People
We had to
like,
get
right.
caught up.
So, look,
Yeah.
look, and just to celebrities, the big name celebrities out there, if you're old, just cling on, just hold on for for a while.
Yeah,
for a
as
while.
long as you can.
As long as you can.
Hold on for a while. We're gonna keep doing the wheel for a bit.
Yeah, we want to actually do the wheel. But yes, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. That sounds good. There's plenty to talk about there. I love that movie. That movie's gonna be fun. So we'll talk about that.
Now, if you don't find anyone, I'm always open to come back. But if you find someone that like has it on their
we try to rotate different people, so we'll have you back.
Yeah, we'll have you back at some point. But yeah, we'll work.
I'm always here to fill in if you can't find anyone.
Yes. All right. But yeah, that'll do it for tonight. We're gonna wrap it up and get on over to the Lonely Marks here in a few minutes. So just keep head over to the Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast channel. Check us out there. I'll put a link in the Movie Hero Network group here in just a few minutes, so you can find us over there. Yeah, we'll be talking about SummerSlam. So thank you, Jordan, for joining us. We appreciate it, and thanks to Richie as always for joining me. If we don't see you guys, we will see you next time in about 2 weeks for Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. So we appreciate it, guys. This has been the Wheel of Movies. I'm Austin Pezhal, and we'll see you guys next time.